Good morning, Forest Academy, and welcome to this week's Character Skills Assembly. We are so happy that you are back with us. I tried to pop into all of your classrooms on Monday to see you all, and it was just great to see all of your happy faces, and you could tell that you're all just as happy to be back as we are to have you. So welcome, and long may it continue. So this week we are going to be focusing on effort. So we're going to consider the importance of making an effort in everyday life. And it's something that we need to do, isn't it, on a daily basis. Just to get up in the morning sometimes requires quite a lot of effort, especially when it's cold and it's dark outside. It takes me a lot of effort to get up in the morning. So what do we mean by making an effort? So if you want to make an effort to do something, you need to do it even though it takes extra energy, or quite often if you don't want to do it. So to put forth your greatest possible effort is to achieve, or to accomplish something. So the magic of effort, think about it. Yes, rest and relaxation are necessary. However, haven't you noticed that whenever you've got too much rest or relaxation, your enthusiasm and the liveliness kind of slowly fades away? I know that I'm a lot more productive when I've got more energy. Sometimes at the weekend, if I've had quite a lazy day, I find it a real struggle in the afternoon or in the evening to get up and do something. So you may be rich or successful, but if you haven't been giving effort, you might feel kind of incomparable to others who might not have as much as you, but who are striving and giving the best to fulfill their lives and giving the best effort that they can. So why is that? It's because effort allows us to participate in life. In other words, it's what enables us to connect with everything in life. It's what allows us to create possibilities towards the happiness that we wish to gain or have. And it's what can make our existence matter or meaningful. To summarize, within effort lies everything that we have ever wanted. So the next time you begrudge effort, so next time you feel, oh, I really don't want to do this today, and you're feeling a little bit lazy, no matter what the circumstance may be, take a moment to breathe and think twice. Effort is the link to everything that you want, the link to the happiness that you seek. Even if on the surface it might not appear as though you get anything from it, so any direct benefits from your efforts, give it anyway, because before you realize it, as a result of them, you might be surprised at how beautiful your life has become. Now, I want you to have a think. Can you recall a time where you have put some additional effort into your work? And how did that make you feel? Have a think. Now, I know that if I've put extra effort into my work, I'm a lot more proud of the outcome that I've achieved. If I found something quite easy, I haven't necessarily put enough effort into it. I now want you to compare that feeling with when you haven't really tried. What did that feel like? So you might still have accomplished something, but did you give it 100%? Did you really try to achieve that outcome? And how does that compare to when you did try? Now, I'm betting that you felt a lot better and a lot more kind of self-assured when you put effort into what you were doing. I think you would have had a much greater sense of accomplishment and achievement, because I know that I do. When I know that I really tried with something, I'm more likely to get a better outcome. Now, I've got a poem here about two frogs, and you'll notice we're going to learn about one of the frogs first, and then we're going to move on to the second frog, who has a slightly different outlook on life. I hope you enjoy it. The first frog in my story is completely uncool, a flop, a no-hoper, a bit of a fool. He just sits on a lily pad day after day with no ambition, I'm unhappy to say. Could he ever be kind, considerate, tender? No, none of these things is on his agenda. Does he ever make friends or say, how do you do? When it comes to hobsnobbing, he hasn't a clue. He just sits in his pond eating flies, getting fat, and sticking his tongue out. Well, how rude is that? The only thing ever that made him feel glad was that nobody wanted to share his pad. He'd been lazy and thoughtless since the time he had spawned, and the day when he pushed himself hasn't yet dawned. Now it took all his effort to remember his youth. He'd always been idle, and that is the truth. But he remembered that, way back, he changed quite a lot, turning into a frog from a little black dot. He had looked like a comma just wriggling about, but what made him change, he couldn't work out. He had gone goggle-eyed, turned all speckled and green, quite the ugliest creature he'd ever seen. One week he was legless, but now he had toes, and instead of his gills, he could breathe through his nose. He couldn't believe that any of this was become of a princess' sticky old kiss. But something had altered him, that much he knew, and he'd overheard rumours, but could they be true? It seemed that one frog, or it could have been two, had been changed into a prince, and a handsome one too. He had an idea, though the chances were slim, that something like that might just happen to him. But night after night and day after day, he looked for a princess to come heading his way. Now, who choose a frog who has no conversation, or who seems to be lacking in all motivation? Sad to say, when a princess did walk past his pond, the frog stayed where he was, and he didn't respond. Though she called and called to attract his attention, to make any effort was not his intention. So there was his one opportunity missed, his only chance of being kissed, and turned into a handsome prince. He had been unhappy ever since. He wished he'd have been so wet and blown the only chance he'd get, for he wasn't resilient, he hadn't a knack, he was gifted at hopping, but he couldn't bounce back. Now, frogs are renowned for their water resistance, but they're not too skilled when it comes to persistence. However, another old frog lived fairly close by, and it was his nature to give things a try. He was friendly, resilient, reliable too. He did everything well he was prompted to do. He saw the princess and did 20 backflips. He smiled his best smile and puckered his lips. The girl was astonished to see his reaction and felt straight away an exciting attraction. It put her in mind of a story she'd read, so she bent at the pond's edge and kissed the frog's head. The frog held his breath, but oh, what a shame. He felt tingly all over, but looked just the same. Now the kiss has occurred, but I have to confess, the rest of the tale is a bit of a mess. The princess was probably tingling too, as her skin tone changed to a greenish hue. At first she thought, this is some kind of joke, until when she laughed, it came out as a croak. Well, her feet grew bigger and so did her eyes, and she felt overcome by a craving for flies. In conduct unseemly for royalty's daughter, she hopped off the bank and into the water. At least you might think the frog found a friend, but this is my story, and that's not the end. Our frog didn't give up and he didn't despair. If you walk past his pond, you might still see him there. He promised himself he'd be patient and wait for another princess to settle his fate. Now, you might believe such persistence is wrong, but if you know a princess, please send her along. Now, I hope you liked that poem. I think you can see what happened. So the first frog didn't really do much. He didn't put effort into anything. He didn't really have any friends. He just sat on his lily pad that he didn't want to share with anyone. And when the opportunity arose, when a princess did finally come along, he didn't take her up on it, did he? He just sat there and did nothing, wanting her to do all of the work. But it didn't work, did it? Whereas the second frog, was completely different. He had a different mindset. He enjoyed putting effort into things. And when the princess came along for him, he did some backflips, didn't he? So the princess chose him and did end up kissing him. Unfortunately, it didn't have the desired effect in the end, and she turned into a frog, didn't she? But the message to the story, or the moral of the story, is by putting in that effort, you're more likely to get to the goal that you want, and you're more likely to achieve something. It doesn't always come to you. You need to do something for yourself. Now, before we end, I've got a really, really good video here that I'm going to end with, and I'm not going to say anything else after it. But I want you to have a think about putting in effort. And think about when you're in class, when you're at home, putting in effort with your friends. I know that from my experience, obviously I'm a lot older than you, that you need to put effort into those friendships that you've got. Okay? Because people will turn to you and want to do things for you if you show that same kindness to them. Remember, to achieve your goals, you need to put some effort in. And sometimes it is hard. Don't get me wrong, it is very, very hard. But you're more likely to get to the goal that you want to achieve. And think about the people you live with at home, who put effort into looking after you, to getting you up in the morning, to cooking you dinner. So have a think about how you could put some extra effort, and think back to that feeling of achieving something with a great amount of effort compared to achieving something when you didn't put that much effort in. Think back to how you felt at those different points. So I'm going to leave you with this video. It was great to see you all, and I will speak to you all soon. Enjoy.
See, effort is what separates the boys from the men. What you do every day will dictate your future. What you want out of your life is what you got to put in. Yeah, failure happens, mistakes as well. But without them, how could you grow? How can you become that successful entrepreneur without learning the lessons of failure? How much effort would you put in today to guarantee the future for your family, to guarantee the empire that you dreamed of as a kid? Most of you claim you've been working hard because you got tired. Oh, I did work hard, but success still didn't come. No, you worked until you got tired. Tired doesn't equal hard work. It's how hard you work after you get tired. When you get tired, that is when the real work starts. How hard do you push when you get tired? How many reps have you got left in you when your body says no? How many hours have you got left in you when the mind says no? How many times can you get back up after life has beaten you down, time and time again? If you want better than average, you have to work harder than the average. If you want greatness, your effort must be greater than great. It's not all about physical effort. It's about the effort you apply to learning, the effort you apply to growing, the effort you apply to finding solutions. It's as much about working smart as it is hard. The effort you put in to become a better person, a more understanding person. The effort you put in to helping others. How many other lives do you impact around you from the effort you give to others? Your quality of life depends on your effort. It doesn't matter what success means to you. Whatever it is, it will require your effort. If you want to be a good friend, a good parent, effort is required. If you want financial success or physical strength, effort is required. And your level of effort will equal your level of results. There are no mistakes. Give your all every day, every minute of every day. Your best effort in each present moment will lead to your best future moments. There are no mistakes. All your effort, all you got.
So I think that has some very, very important messages. In every aspect of your life, you can put in effort, whether it be with your friendships, with your family, at home, at school, in every aspect of your life. So I want you to take some of those messages and have a think about what you can do to put some effort in. And I will see you all soon. Goodbye, Forest Academy.